I am here today to say to Canadians to avoid travel to the United States is not the actions of a democratic nation. People whose phones are being seized and searched for any kind of incriminating evidence that they're somehow progressive or woke, that's not the actions of a democratic nation. That is the creep of totalitarianism. That is the creep of fascism, and we need to call that out. Canada will never kiss that gangster's ring. We are true. We are North. We are strong. We are free. We will not bend, and we will not give an inch. Over the last 3 months, our nation has faced an unprecedented threat from our nearest neighbor, a threat to our borders, a threat to our sovereignty, our threat to our very right to exist as an independent democratic nation. Donald Trump thought we were going to be an easy mark, that we'd be a pushover. Oh, how wrong he was. And now Canada standing up to him has made Canada the front line in the defense against the MAGA ideology. So no wonder Donald Trump and MAGA are feeling pretty angry at Canada. But what concerns me is the targeting of Canadian citizens who are crossing the border to work or to visit. We have seen too many stories of citizens being pulled out of airport lines and being fingerprinted and deported as though they were criminals. Citizens being kidnapped through illegal detention by ICE. And it's not just Canadians. We see the attack on backpackers, students, doctors, professors. I am here today to say to Canadians to avoid travel to the United States if at all possible, and to call our government to stand up for our Canadian citizens who are being denied their rights by arbitrary detention in the United States today. Canada must stand up for our citizens and for the rule of law. Because what we're seeing, for example, with cops pulling over the folk duo Cassie and Maggie to harass them for being Canadian is not the actions of a democratic nation. People whose phones are being seized and searched for any kind of incriminating evidence that they're somehow progressive or woke, that's not the actions of a democratic nation. That is the creep of totalitarianism. That is the creep of fascism, and we need to call that out, because that is not what happens in a nation governed by the rule of law. It's been pretty clear that what Donald Trump and the MAGA ideology are focused on is the politics of fear, of keeping their people disoriented and frightened of the border, frightened of their neighbors. And to make that possible, it's become clear that Donald Trump is willing to drive his nation's economy into chaos, to rip up the biggest and best trading partnership in the world, to drive the U.S. travel industry into the ground. Last month alone, there were 500,000 less visits to the United States because Canadians are not going to go to hostile territory. And so what do the stories of arbitrary detention and arrest and throwing young women into freezing cells, handcuffed, send? It sends that the United States does not want to be involved in the world economy anymore. And what we're seeing is that Donald Trump is trying to break the incredible bonds that exist in all our border communities, the bonds that have existed between Americans and Canadians for years, for generations, the deep friendships that we have. He's trying to make us the enemy of the American people. Well, Canada is not the enemy of the American people, but we are the enemy of fascism, and we are the enemy of the Donald Trump ideology. Canada is showing the world what it means to stand up, and ordinary Canadians are in the lead in this fight, and I'm super proud to call myself Canadian at this time. But it is vital that our leaders join this fight with us, that our leaders call out the arbitrary detentions and the denial of rights of citizens, not just Canadian citizens, but all citizens. Because we know if he can get away with this, there's no reason that a Canadian or German or someone from the UK isn't going to be picked up and deported to some El Salvadorian concentration camp, because that is what's happening in the United States with the complete abdication of the rule of law. Canada is a country of the rule of law. Canada is a country of democracy. Canada must stand firm at this time. I urge people not to travel to the United States, but to keep the boycott, to keep strong, because Canada will never kiss that gangster's ring. We are true, we are North, we are strong, we are free, we will not bend, and we will not give an inch. I'll take any questions.
Mr. Angus, I'm wondering what you think of Donald Trump's comments about Pierre Poilievre. Poilievre certainly sees his comments as an endorsement of Carney.
Oh, poor Pierre. Pierre Poilievre has been endorsed by every MAGA right-wing voice that supports Donald Trump. But what Donald Trump is realizing is getting an endorsement from Donald Trump is political death in Canada. So now he's trying to say he doesn't support Pierre Poilievre. Nobody's buying that. Pierre Poilievre is MAGA. Pierre Poilievre is supporting the same kind of extremist policies that Donald Trump is. And Donald Trump is trying to do Pierre a favor by saying, oh, actually, I don't like Pierre Poilievre. Nobody's buying it.
I mean, what other confirmation do you need? You have it from the words of the mouth of the president of the United States that, you know, this guy is not for him.
Well, I think any of the words that come out of Donald Trump's mouth tend to be lies, disinformation, that we see every single MAGA blowhard has supported Pierre Poilievre. We know that Elon Musk loves Pierre Poilievre. So I think what Donald Trump is realizing, just like he had to go out and defend Wayne Gretzky, is that when Donald Trump touches you, your credibility turns to ash in Canada. So poor Pierre, he's got to separate himself from MAGA ideology. It's going to be very difficult, and I don't think Canadians are going to fall for it.